Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Fintech Fridays. I'm Brian Vieaux, President and Chief Operating Officer at FinLocker. And this week, I'm excited to talk to Patrick O'Brien. He's the founder of LenderLogix, and he's resides in the Arctic North in Buffalo, New York. Patrick, welcome to my little podcast.
Thanks a lot, man. Nice to have you, fellow Northerner here. So
yeah, right. We're recording this, still in the heart of the winter, and look at this glow on my face. There's actually a big ball of orange up in the sky in Detroit. It's crazy.
I think you can see the reflection in my windows there too.
Yeah,
so I got a little sunshine coming in too.
Yeah, there's hope. There's hope that spring's right around the corner.
Yeah, that groundhog's full of crap.
Well, hey man, thanks for jumping on. I've been wanting to get you on here and learn more about LenderLogix. As you know, that's kind of my goal with these episodes is for me, selfishly, to learn about cool new tech, and then hopefully for the audience, which includes my mom, they'll learn about what you're up to at LenderLogix. So let's dive right in. I think the place to start, because you're a startup, so you're living the startup life. You and I kind of share a lot of those similar attributes and angst and anxiety and all that goes with it. But let's start with kind of before LenderLogix. What was Patrick up to? What were you doing, and what led you to build this business? Sure.
Yeah, I'm a career mortgage guy. So when I graduated from college, had a couple different options. One of them was to go into mortgage originations. This is in 2002. So became a loan officer. That was a good time to be a loan officer. Kind of rates were coming down. So I had a nice bit of a jump start into the career. But I worked for a regional bank in the Northeast for a little over, it was 15 years, I guess. And throughout the course of that time, started to gravitate more towards technology. So as the institution I was working for did a large LOS implementation, I was sort of one of the subject matter experts that got called into that project, which was a multi-year project. And as we were onboarding different vendors and sort of curating what that LOS experience would be for the loan officers, just started to kind of see a lot of deficiencies in the space, and maybe some opportunity to do things a little bit better based on kind of my experience in lending all those years and talking to customers and realtors. So we started the company in. I ultimately left the bank. We started the company in 2016, and we've got a suite of products that we sell in the space. So it's really kind of was. The genesis of the company was really just kind of born from, kind of the experience I had as a loan originator for those 15 years.
Yeah, I love it. Those are, traditionally, historically, whatever the connotation, the success stories where, the founders kind of lived in the space, maybe engineered something that helped their business, and then, figured out quickly that there was true value and benefit there, and converted it from a self-serving utility to a commercialized product. And I'm super excited to kind of learn and dive into what it is that you folks are doing at LenderLogix.
Yeah, I think I think back to my time as a loan officer, and you always kind of expected there was this group of people out there, this they that was out there working to make the industry better and build technology to help loan officers. And I got to the point where I was like, I guess I'm the they, if you kind of feel like there's a solution that's necessary that would help people, maybe you have a responsibility yourself to kind of try to bring that, put that into the world. So that's really where LenderLogix was formed. We, somewhat similar to FinLocker, we look at different parts of that loan origination journey. I mean, all the way from, kind of that initial point where that borrower sort of has, an inkling that maybe they want to purchase a house, all the way through, when they close on that house and what different parts of that journey look like. It's, a borrower has different needs, very early on in the process than they do once they've actually applied for a mortgage. So what we really do is we look at specific parts of that journey, and we look at where there's friction and where there's problems, and we try to create just really beautiful pieces of software that solve these particular problems across the journey. One that comes to mind, I have all these, I think of these stories, these things you experienced, kind of when you're, when I was originating, and I was thinking about this, I was talking to a husband and wife, that were purchasing a house, sitting in a conference room, kind of, pre-qualifying them, reviewing their figures, doing what a loan officer does. And, she was a teacher, the husband was an engineer, and he's sitting in front of a laptop and he's asking me a lot of detailed questions. He's kind of going through questions that like a borrower normally wouldn't ask you. These, how much does the PMI change if I put this % down versus that % down? What about if I go contingent or non-contingent? How does that change things? And he's kind of asking me these questions and kind of typing away on his computer. I was like, if you don't mind me asking, like, what are you doing? Are you just taking notes? It's like, well, I'm actually building an Excel spreadsheet because, I know I'm going to walk out of here and you're not going to be with me. And I'm going to go to a house. I'm going to start looking at a house. I'm going to have all these questions and I need to have a way to kind of, at least kind of familiarize myself with what's going on. And that moment's always stuck with me as being, that was one of those kind of crystallizing moments. Like, man, we as an industry, like we need to own that.
Yeah.
We need to own being able to provide our borrowers the tools that make them successful home buyers, that make this couple be good at buying a house, to make sure that they're able to achieve their goal with as little confusion and anxiety as possible. So that was really kind of one of those moments where we started to say, I think these are tools we can kind of put out in the world, integrate with the LOS that would really improve that borrower experience.
I love that. That's such a vivid description because especially in the last, 5 years, the average home buyer doesn't find their first house they look at, make an offer and get it accepted and go down the happy trail path, right? It just doesn't happen.
Never.
So it's like rinse and repeat. And that I love the fact that you described that borrower as an engineer because I'm totally visualizing this guy building his own script now that he's going into the process knowing it's not going to be one property he's looking at. It's going to be a dozen or more. How do I optimize, my analysis? And so let's talk a little bit about, I always like to understand where you as a founder and owner think of your product in the tech ecosystem of real estate finance. Is there a category where you guys kind of fit nicely, or multiple categories?
I would say it's multiple categories. We generally sort of get pigeonholed kind of into that point of sale category. But we certainly differentiate ourselves, I think, from most of the point of sales out there. I wish there was a more well-established category called point of influence, which is where when a borrower is making a decision, trying to understand what it is that they're going to do and getting comfortable with the financing, what is the technology that touches them at that point? And that's really where we try to play. So, for example, kind of our flagship product is a product called Quick Qual, which really lets the loan officer, once they've qualified a borrower, lets the loan officer qualify a borrower for either one scenario or a number of scenarios, contingent, non-contingent, conventional FHA, that type of thing. Lets the loan officer qualify that borrower for these scenarios, and then provides the borrower just this really beautiful piece of technology that borrower can use throughout as they're shopping for the home, that 45 days, 60 days, 90 days, probably now 120 days, whatever the case is. so that they're able to run payments. They're able to generate their own pre-qualification letters within the boundaries that the loan officer set for those particular scenarios. So we really try to take a look at, okay, what would a 5-star experience be for a borrower that's walking out of the lender's office pre-qualified up until the point in time that that borrower finds a house? What would a 5-star experience look like for that borrower? It would be that at any given time, they had perfect clarity on what the payment would be on the house they're buying.
Yeah.
It would be perfect clarity on how much cash they need to close on that house. So when they're sitting on their couch, scrolling through Zillow or Realtor.com or whatever, and they're looking at different houses, they're able to make a decision that's based on the loan they qualify for. And when they do want to take action, giving them the tools to be able to take action. So if I want to put in an offer, I can generate a pre-qualification letter that 100% matches the offer I want to submit. I'm not subjecting myself to this level of anxiety about now I got to reach out to the loan officer.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're available and can get this letter to my realtor. It's like, let's try to iron out all those wrinkles. So that's really kind of where our quick qual lives. In giving the borrower at that point of influence, the information they need in order to make the decision that's best for them.
Let me echo it back so that I understand, and hopefully others that aren't in the weeds as a loan officer can understand. So that initial consultation, the typical consultation between prospective home buyer and loan officer, still is going to occur, where that loan officer is going to roll up their sleeves and get in and do a true pre-qual, understanding employment, income, credit, cash to close, verified assets, all the stuff that a loan officer would do in conjunction with their process, which may or may not include a TBD underwrite, right? That all is in-house. So that first step still happens. And now, if I'm the loan officer that's done that first step, as that borrower is leaving my office or my virtual office or whatever that engagement is, I'm now introducing them to this piece of tech that's going to connect the work we just did together with 10, 12, 15 scenarios based on the homes they're going to go look at. And now, unless something changes in the scope of an offer that, moves that purchase price and loan amount, out of scope, this tool will be very relevant and dynamic to each home they look at. Am I thinking about that right? You're
probably well qualified to be a salesperson for our company with that type of understanding. That's 100% it. Is our software doesn't work without a loan officer.
Right.
We're not, hey, enter your information and we'll run DU and crank out a meaningless pre-qual letter that nobody's going to stand behind because it's garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
No, this is a loan officer vetted, a loan officer presenting the scenarios the way that a loan officer would, just giving the loan officer a technical conduit to provide that to the borrower. So borrower gets a text message. They can click on that message. Now they kind of have this beautiful interface where they can run payments within the boundaries of what that loan officer qualified the borrower for. So if that loan officer qualified the borrower for a 30-year conventional loan with seller concessions, we're not going to give that borrower a calculator. It's going to let them run VA, right? It's dialed into what that loan officer, the scenarios that loan officer qualified the borrower for. And how can we, design a piece of software that makes it easy for the borrower to use, understand what they need to understand. Borrowers care about payment. Borrowers care about how much cash they need to close. They care about how that number changes as the property taxes change, as the purchase price changes. So really being able to deliver that information to a borrower, without them having to seek that information on an online loan calculator or just by calling a loan officer every single time they need that information, really makes that borrower, number one, sticky with the lender because it's keeping them in your ecosystem, while at the same time just giving that borrower the comfort of knowing, if I execute a transaction on this house, like I know what I'm doing here. I'm not going to be surprised in a week, when I roll into that loan officer's, office to do the loan application, I'm not going to be surprised about what those numbers are going to look like because I've gotten comfortable with them. I know that if I have to increase my purchase price by $5 or $10,000, that my payment goes up, $40 or whatever the case is. So, really kind of, that's the beautiful piece of kind of putting that power in the borrower's hands, so they can make those informed decisions while at the same time keeping them engaged with the loan officer throughout that process.
So two questions, and then I want to move into some of the other products as well. The product, how is the product delivered to the consumer? Is it a web app or is it a native mobile app?
Not a native mobile app. I mean, we've one of the things we've obsessed over, and you would certainly be able to appreciate this. I mean, in software, you obsess over so much, literally everything. I mean, the color of a button, you obsess over it. So, we've really designed it in a way that maximizes engagement from the borrower. So, we found web app to be far and away a better way, at least at that point in the journey, to deliver, to deliver that. So, we're traditionally doing it that way.
It's fully responsive, whether I'm on an Android, an iOS, an iPad, et cetera, right?
100%. Yeah. Always, designed in a way to look great, represent the lender very well. It's a white labeled solution. So, reflects the lender's branding throughout and just kind of keeps that borrower engaged with the lender throughout the entire process.
Love it. So my second question is around the loan officer.
Mm-hmm.
What visibility does the loan officer have on what's happening once that borrower leaves their virtual, appointment and they're now off on the house hunting track? Yeah,
I mean, a tremendous amount of visibility, right? Like you can. I think back to my days as a loan officer. In those days we moved from literally like faxing a pre-qual letter or mailing an actual physical letter. We moved those to emailing PDFs and acted like that was the digitization of the process or something like that. So whereas, you fire off a PDF to somebody, you have no visibility. I've got no clue what they're up to. So what we're able to do is really give that loan officer a tremendous amount of visibility into kind of that pre-qual pipeline, which most people just don't manage. They just kind of like wait for that borrower to come back and find a house. So, we're pinging the loan officer with notifications based on what that borrower's, scenarios they're running, letters they're generating, same thing, if there's an agent involved, who's doing what, to really kind of give that loan officer the ability to say, at any given time, you can look at your entire breadth of borrowers that are out there looking for houses, know who's active, know who's not, find scenarios. Do I need to talk to this borrower and maybe, they can't find a house within the payment range? Do we want to bump them over to FHA just to get a higher dollar amount approved? Like that type of thing. So, that's a really important component, is making, letting the loan officer kind of have access to this really rich information about their pipeline.
Love it. So I lied. I have two more questions. Does this product that you described, Quick Qual, does it require an integration with any of the lender's tech stack, or can it be a standalone solution?
It can be standalone. Obviously, like integrating within an existing tech stack is always probably the preferred path.
Yep.
So, what we try to do is make it as easy for the loan officer to issue the pre-qual this way as they would if they were cranking out a PDF. Yeah. In fact, I in most of our integrated solutions, it's easier. I mean, you can crank out these scenarios to this borrower and have it in their hands within 30 seconds, less time than it would take you to attach a PDF to an email. So, so that's always the preferred path. But, we do have plenty of, loan officers and clients maybe where, that integration isn't possible. So it is, it does work as a standalone solution as well.
Cool. And then my second question on that is, can an individual loan officer sign up, or does it have to start with an enterprise, lender kind of contracting with you?
I mean, the enterprises obviously just makes things easier from a compliance standpoint, vendor management standpoint, integration standpoint. So, those are always the quickest, path to uptime. But no, we've had some, plenty of, mom and pop shops and, small individual, companies that we do business with, across the spectrum. So
cool. Awesome. So I know you have some other cool stuff that you kind of offer. So let's maybe spend the last part of our conversation talking about the other opportunities for lenders to partner with you on across your product set.
Yeah, I mean, we've always, we spend a lot of time talking to our customers. We spend a lot of time learning what their pain points are, and we use our expertise as loan originators, from our previous lives to kind of help inform the types of things that we should build. We recently built, we call it a light point of sale. We call it Lightspeed is the name of the product, which is just really kind of like an awesome online loan application that a borrower can fill out. And it uses, obviously, the information that the borrower's completed in that loan application to curate a needs list for that borrower right out of the gate to allow them to upload documents. Again, just keep them engaged as early in the process as we can. So we had heard from a lot of our clients that their online mortgage application kind of left a lot to be desired. So we really sought to kind of knock the cover off the ball in terms of a beautifully designed, really online 1003. So our we rolled that product out right at the end of Q4, and we've had a ton of, we've had a lot of fun rolling it out, just kind of getting it out to loan officers. They're excited about, these kinds of tools to put them in their hands. So that's been a cool one.
Love it. What else do you guys have that gets traction with your clients?
Yeah, a few other products, and we sell a product called Fee Chaser, which, while isn't the kind of the sexiest application or the most fun, it automates the collection of fees. So that was a pain point we were hearing from a lot of our clients, kind of this clunky process of getting appraisal fees and credit report fees collected from their borrowers as part of the application. So we created kind of a really slick interface that integrates with the loan origination system. Borrower gets a text message. They can, pay their appraisal fee, application fee, condo docs, whatever the case is, pushes all the data back into the LOS. So just really kind of zeroing in on some of these points of friction in the process and figuring out ways to just kind of, put a really slick interface in front of that borrower. There's another fun one that we do, which is automate the delivery of closing gifts.
Right.
So we had a client approach us where they wanted to send pet tags to borrowers when they bought a new house. It was like their closing gift. And they said, well, we got people kind of sitting around, sending emails to borrowers asking if they have any pets. Then somebody's got to go through this report at the end of the month of all the closings. They got to place the order. And we're saying, maybe that's something we could automate. So we developed this program where the borrower gets a text message once they submit a loan application, walks them through a cute little interview, asks them if they have pets, what the size of the pet is, what the name of the pet is. And then once that loan hits closing, we get a webhook from the loan origination system, automatically place the order for those tags, and it's sent to that borrower's new home. So, it's got the lender's logo on there.
Right.
It just kind of really creates a joyful experience for that borrower. So we try to look at kind of, cute little fun things like that we can do for our clients.
That's super cool. I mean, I love the up the funnel, the early engagement too, because you're kind of building, it's another layer of trust and relationship building. People love to talk about their pets, right?
100%.
And so I think that's a super interesting, super cool kind of approach there. So last couple of questions are really around kind of life at a startup, right? I know you've been at it since 2016, I think you said, which is similar to FinLocker, but because you're evolving and creating new products, it's almost like you have this startup again, right? So how do you guys kind of think about, the running this perpetual startup business? And what do you do to kind of decompress?
Yeah, it's I mean, I don't need to tell you, it's an interesting lifestyle, but like I you know, I'm in love with the mortgage business. I know you are too, and the people, and there's nothing quite like talking to a customer about a problem that they have in their business. And figuring out a technical solution to really elegantly solve that problem in a way that makes a meaningful difference to that originator. So that's one of the things we try to do is constantly talk and listen to our customers, ask them for feedback, tell us the problems that they're having. And then we use our relationships with the LOS providers, with our technical aptitude to try to build technical solutions that really, at the end of the day, help the loan officer make more money, help the loan officer write more loans. I mean, I'm a loan officer at heart, like that. So these are my people. This is my tribe. And, we're constantly trying to have those conversations and build those tools, to be that they out there that's really working to kind of improve the technical landscape for loan officers.
I love it, man. I love the grind. I kind of follow you on the different platforms and appreciate what you're doing. The tools you have are phenomenal. When we publish this, we'll make sure there's ways for people to get a hold of you and your company. Patrick, I thank you for coming on. It was great to learn about LenderLogix and the great things you're doing, and I'm looking forward to watching the company continue to grow.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. And I appreciate your role in kind of helping to carry the water and tell some of these stories. It's really cool, and, appreciate what you're doing.
Right on. Well, thanks everybody for joining today's episode. Come back next Friday and have a great weekend.